Natalie is the leader of the Green Party here in Britain, and the Green Party is, of course, affiliated to the coalition.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and I apologise for not sitting with my fellow speakers. This is either austerity, we might call it, but actually what it is probably is that there's so many people here and so many different voices I couldn't fit on the platform, and I think that's a really good sign. I think we should take that as really positive. I'm aware that we're rather short of time, so I'm going to try and stick to my 5 minutes, and I've got 3 things that I want to say in that 5 minutes. First of all, as everyone has been saying, we really need to stick together. It was very obvious yesterday on the TUC march, and very cheering. I got to walk in the front party, which was very nice. Caroline Lucas and I walked in the front party. I learnt something that I've never known before from a big demo like that. You have to walk really, really fast at the front, because otherwise down the back we'll never get there. So I learnt that when you're at the front, you have to sprint really fast. But that meant that I got to hear some of the speeches you don't normally hear when you're somewhere down the back, which was, among the speeches I heard were very encouraging messages from the Italian trade unions, from the US trade unions, and I think there may have been others that I didn't catch. Messages of support and solidarity. And I think that's really important, that we're getting, from all around the world, we're getting the sense of where we are, as David Cameron gets it entirely wrong, we are in this together, and we're going to fight it together, and we're going to struggle together. And that, I think, is really important. And beyond just trade unions, it was really evident on the march yesterday how strong the presence was of environmental groups, of religious groups, of human rights groups. There's a whole range of groups there, all supporting the basic trade union message. And it's great to see the same kind of broad spread here that we've got today. I think a word I've kept hearing in lots of different languages is coalition. And I think that's a really important word that we really need to keep focusing on. The fact is, we also very much need to learn from each other. We've all got skills and experience and knowledge and tactics that we can take out into the struggle in our home countries. The fact is, the other side is united. In fact, more than global capitalism being united, very often now it's the one company that's operating there all over the world. So they're working together, they're working as one unit, we need to too. And I think some of the messages, some of the things we can learn from today, from Portugal, don't spend time fighting each other. And I particularly like from Greece, the no more armchair politics. There's a few people I'd like to go and say no more armchair politics to. And the message in terms of protecting your national health services, as we here in Britain so much need to protect our NHS. It's been an absolute beacon of public health service for the rest of the world, and that gives us a special responsibility for fighting to protect it. And we need to learn from others who've already seen their services, often built on our model, dismantled much further. But there's one final thing that I'd really like to say that I think we need to do that perhaps no one else has really talked about very much. And that is, we've got to fight what's happening now. We've got to say cuts and austerity aren't the answer. But the problem is that's a negative message. And if we go around out there on the streets, say we've got to fight, we've got to stop this, it's not enough. We've got to do more than that. We've got to paint a positive image of a future society, of an entirely different sort of society that doesn't look like 2006, 2008, whenever your austerity and cuts started. In Britain in 2006, more than a quarter of pensioners and more than a quarter of children were living in poverty. We can't be saying, mustn't be saying, we just want to go back to 2006. We don't just want to cut back to where we were before. We want to build a new kind of society. For Britain, and I think for many other people represented here, we need to bring manufacturing back to our home countries. We need to bring food production back to our home countries. We need to build strong local economies. We need to greatly slash down wage disparities. There's a whole range of things we need to do. And if we're going to get true mass support out there, we've got to do more than say we are just against the cuts. We've got to say, here is our vision of a far better, fairer, more equal society in which everyone has a chance of a decent life and has a chance to develop themselves. And that's what we're trying to do. And we can work together, because we haven't really managed yet to really paint that picture of the future. And we've all got ideas and thoughts to feed into that. And we can get together We can get together to fight the cuts, but much more than that, we can get together to work out how we build a much better society for the future, and I believe we can do it. Thank you very much.